Hey, what's up everybody? So in this video, I do not want to talk about my silver stacking mistakes. That's right, this is not a video that I want to make, but I feel it's a video that has to be done, and I am going to tell you all about my mistakes. That way, possibly, it will help somebody else not make the same mistakes that I have made over the last 4 or 5 years while on my stacking journey. So this, like I said, this is a very difficult video for me to make because I have to admit once and for all that I'm not perfect. I thought I was perfect. I'm just joking. Silver is very hyped. Now with that being said, yes, there's a lot of people hyping silver. Silver is one of the most hyped assets that there is and probably will ever be. With that being said, it's nobody's fault that I made the mistakes that I made but me. Everybody has to take responsibility for their own actions, and myself included. With that all being said, it's nobody's fault that I made the mistakes that I made but myself. It's not the silver's fault that I made these mistakes. I don't blame it on the silver. I like silver. I will continue to buy silver. I will continue to stack silver. But acknowledging the mistakes that I have made and not making the same mistakes. So one of the mistakes that I made and that I think a lot of people make and that a lot of people are probably making right now, which is the reason why I don't make videos about how everybody should be buying silver right now, because for me personally, I think this is a pretty poor time to be buying a lot of silver. Now, I am going to buy a little bit of silver here and a little bit of silver there for certain things that I want, things that I think that will or could appreciate in value. Not saying that any of it will, but stuff that I think that could go up in value, but not buying much silver that is just attached to the spot price and premiums. So when I first started stacking silver, I started out stacking silver, first of all, the wrong way. Now, I'm not talking about today's climate, because we can all look at 5 years ago and then look at today and say that everything is up in price, everything is up in value. But I have to start from when I started and the progression along in my silver stacking journey. When I first started stacking silver, and I made a video a couple days ago about my mistakes with gold, and my mistakes with gold kind of progressed into my mistakes with silver. And I made a video a couple days ago about how I sold 2 ounces of gold to buy more silver, which was my first mistake, was selling the gold and then buying the silver that I bought. It wasn't a mistake to buy silver totally, but buying the silver the way that I bought it was a pretty big mistake. And how I was buying it, first of all, when I first started buying silver back in about between 2014 and 2015, silver spot price was down. It was approximately $15, $16 an ounce. Premiums were pretty good. About American Silver Eagles, you could get a tube for about $350. In fact, the first tube of American Silver Eagles that I purchased was $350, so not too bad. But shortly after buying that first tube of American Silver Eagles, we went into 2016. In 2016, I went hog wild on buying everything under the sun. Everything. similar to what a lot of people are doing today. In 2021, we are in June of 2021, and we have been watching people promoting silver raids, promoting silver squeezes, and all of this nonsense. And I call it nonsense just for me. In my opinion, it is nonsense because of looking back at what I have done in the past and my mistakes that I have made. I fear that other people today are making the same mistake. Now, we can't predict the future. We don't know what the price of silver is going to do, what the premiums are going to do. As long as people keep buying, then the premiums are going to stay high. But once people stop buying as much, and if people are overbuying and run into bills and stuff that they have to pay and realize that they have to sell some silver in order to pay them bills, which I had to do, I have experience in that. That's one of my mistakes, is buying too much, not having enough fiat cash. And then once emergencies come in, once unexpected bills come in, then you have to sell some silver. And in most cases, when you have to sell silver, like in my case, when you don't want to sell silver, you're going to take a loss. And I took many of losses with silver. Again, these are admissions that I don't want to make, but they are admissions that I feel that have to be made. So I think it's very important for people, and this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not anything. But what I do know for myself is watching the price and watching premiums. Very important. Something that today a lot of people don't do is watch the price and watch premiums and know when it's time to stop buying. When prices are up and premiums are at all-time highs, that's when most people like to shift it into third gear and just buy more. And I think, for me personally, I think that's a big mistake. Now, who knows? Maybe the price will go up to $40 and premiums will go up even higher. Who knows? I feel that we are reliving 2011, and at some point we will relive 2018 when spot price went back down to $16. Now, spot price may not go back down to $16. Maybe the new $16, maybe that is $19, and maybe that is $20. But I believe we will return to a sense of normal where we've had normal spot prices and normal premiums. Who knows when that will be or when that will happen, but I believe at some point it will happen. My biggest mistake with buying silver is not paying attention to history, not paying attention to when silver prices spike, when premium prices spike. And in 2016, when silver was over $20 an ounce and premiums were kind of up a little bit at that time too, I bought too much. I bought way too much, didn't save enough fiat cash, and I had to sell quite a bit of silver. I made videos on that back in 2016, or it may have been 2017, that I had to sell. I had to sell a lot of Perth Mint silver, a lot of kookaburras, koalas. I had a couple of tubes of wedge-tailed eagles, and I just bought too much higher premium stuff. Now, we can look at 2021 where we're currently at and say, well, Perth Mint coins are going for a lot of money. If you would have just held on to them, you would have not have taken a loss, but you would have made a lot of money, and that is very true. But at the time, I had bills to pay. I had a pretty big car insurance bill that I had to pay, and I had to sell. I had no choice but to sell silver and sell for a loss. Most of the silver that I have sold, because of the fact of the high premiums that are on silver, I took a loss. And that's what a lot of people today just don't realize when it comes to silver is the premiums. And if the silver spot price does not go up higher, or at least close to the premium that you paid, then when it comes time to, if you have to sell, you are going to take a major loss. Now, I did also buy a lot of silver when spot price was a little lower. In 2018, I bought several tubes of American Silver Eagles, and I also sold those because, again, I bought too much, had bills to pay, and I had to sell. Now, on those, I made a little bit of money. But the money that I made on the silver that I bought in 2017 and 2018, the profit that I made did not even come close to the money that I lost when I had to sell the silver that I bought in 2016. So that's why I personally will not repeat the mistakes. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But the lessons that we have to learn is to not repeat the mistakes that we make. And people who are buying silver right now, again, in my opinion, I think later down the road are going to realize that they're buying too much, and it's going to be a mistake, the amount of silver that people are buying. And at some point, a lot of people are going to probably have to sell. The same situations similar to what I had, and people are going to take a loss. So that's why I'm making this video. Again, this is not a video that I wanted to make. So I guess the point of the video is price premiums. I was not paying attention to that. I was not paying attention to history, the historical, when silver price, every 10 years, 15 years, silver spikes up, premiums spike up, and that's just not something that a lot of people, including myself, paid much attention to. Buying too much. I bought way too much. Didn't have enough reserves, cash reserves for unexpected bills. So buying too much silver, and because of buying too much silver and not having enough cash, I had to sell quite a bit and take a loss. And I think that's the key point to this story, is I had to sell silver for a loss because I just bought way too much. My spending on silver was out of control. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, including myself back then, is the fact that as much as we do view buying precious metals as a savings, it's a savings. But precious metals, including gold and every precious metal, when you buy it, it has a premium attached. So if we're buying too much, and if we have to turn around shortly after we buy, and if we have to sell, chances are we're not going to get that premium back on any of these precious metals that we are buying. So very important for me, in my opinion, it's very important to have a large amount of cash savings, and not just a savings in precious metals. While I do believe it's important to have a savings in precious metals, we also need to have a savings in cash as well. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to everybody on my next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.